Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Attorney Jeremy Hogan, who I've been highlighting fairly frequently on this channel, he put out some new information just the other day, indicating that he's rather concerned about the approach that the SEC is taking, and just in a general approach, what it means to the cryptocurrency asset class, but also specifically what it means for Ripple and the SEC suit against them, and XRP specifically. And given that he has an actual legal background, it's really fascinating to hear his take on what's actually unfolding here, because, frankly, from his perspective, he's basically saying it's time to sound the alarm. You need to be aware of what is actually happening here. And by the way, I'll give him a shout out here, because he puts out such good stuff. This is attorney Jeremy Hogan. He runs a YouTube channel called Legal Briefs. Go ahead, check him out, and if you leave a comment in his videos, tell him Moon Lambeau sent ya. And so he really articulated a fascinating case, because he's breaking down historically what has happened. Every single suit that the SEC has brought against every company for the entirety of the history of the asset class. And so I'm going to break down some of the the higher level points he made. If you want all of the specifics, just check out his most recent video on that. But he noted that the SEC is building a case precedent among all prongs of the Howie test. Now, of course, the Howie test, that dates back to the mid-40s. It's been used to determine whether or not something is actually a security. There are four prongs to it, and if all four prongs are satisfied, then the asset in question is indeed a security. If only 1, 2, or 3 of them are satisfied, then it is not a security. And so Jeremy's already articulated his case as to why he does not believe that XRP today is a security, and why he's optimistic for the long-term viability of XRP. But and I'm not going to be focusing as much on that in this video. I did want to make sure I mentioned it. But how did they do this? How have they set case precedent among all four prongs of the Howie test? Well, it's by preying on the weak to expand definition of what a security is. And so they're literally incrementally expanding their reach through litigation, preying against smaller companies that can't afford to combat the SEC, which has basically infinite money. It might as well, It makes it easier to take on more powerful and cash-heavy companies in the future, which we're kind of seeing now. And so Jeremy noted that in his professional experience, he would always want 3 to 4 cases where they won previously on whatever the topic. So outside of crypto, whatever he was doing, he'd always want 3 to 4 cases where his firm won previously and had written judgments to throw in front of a judge and say, hey, here, effectively, these other 2 judges, here's the opinions they had on it. And then Jeremy even was like, hey, he's kind of joking, but probably only partly joking. He's like, you go out to lunch for these guys, them, they're reputable, all this and that. And so it's just this idea of kind of swaying things and saying, look, there's already some sort of precedent. Look at these cases that have already had outcomes. And so the weaker companies, they caved, and that set precedent. And that's kind of scary. So this is the approach that they've been taking. And so this could be an answer as to why they didn't go after Ripple first. Because that was the question. It's like, why? Why has the SEC waited all these years to go after Ripple? And maybe they thought by taking this approach that it would be more likely they could just kind of go for the kill shot, right, against Ripple. And so Jeremy's position is that he thinks the goal of the SEC is to kill all of crypto. Well, I know. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, and it's not that he doesn't want it to happen, but he's just saying based on the SEC's actions, that's what it looks like. The SEC wants control and dominion over the entire crypto asset class, and believes that everything is a security. And think about that. If XRP is a security, what the hell is not? You tell me. Now, the SEC believes that 99.9% of crypto is subject to its oversight. And it's no longer afraid to take on big targets, with Ripple being really the first truly massive target. But it's got this case precedent behind it, which, it doesn't change the fact of whether or not XRP is a security, but they're going to use that to argue their points, as though the way in which they've achieved this precedent actually matters. And from a legal perspective, Jeremy Hogan seems to think that it actually does. And so, if you own anything that's not Bitcoin, he says you should be worried. You know, like it looks like Bitcoin's safe, but he even noted something. I'd mentioned this on the channel before, but he was even talking about Ethereum. And so somebody, I can't remember the individual, had publicly stated that the SEC's position now is that Ethereum is not a security, but that's not binding. You know, they can always go back. There's nothing written up that says some sort of binding capacity. Ethereum is not a security. So even if you're an Ethereum holder, you better be rooting for a positive outcome for Ripple, because they could be coming for you next, because you're also gigantic. The Ethereum Foundation is absolutely huge. Now, the good news is, and he states, you know, once the SEC lawsuit against Ripple is over, that's it. You know, they can't bring suit against Ripple a second time. That will effectively be the end of it. And so it'll be interesting to see the way in which this all unfolds. But he did say, too, in his video, he says, look, this could be a good thing that they're going after Ripple. Now, that of course, we don't want that. We're not enjoying the fact that XRP has, you know, their SEC's arguing that it's a security now. He's just saying if the outcome is favorable, this could be of tremendous importance. You know, certainly for Ripple, for XRP holders, but for the entire cryptocurrency asset class, holders of other coins. And like in the future, you could imagine decades from now, people just going about their daily life, everything's been settled, people are just allowed to hold various cryptocurrencies, and many of them will just be oblivious to the battle that is epically being fought right now here in 2021. But it is not exactly a good time. It's not my very favorite thing to be running through here. But let me go ahead and cover. I think I want to cover a couple things from this. Yeah. So there's a piece from Crypto News Flash titled "Experts Argue," excuse me, over most likely outcome of SEC lawsuit. Excuse me, sorry guys, against Ripple. The SEC lawsuit against Ripple continues to be the most controversial in the crypto community. A current, seemingly overwhelming majority believes that a settlement is the most likely outcome. Just yesterday, Jeremy Hogan of law firm Hogan & Hogan discussed conceivable scenarios. The attorney concluded that a settlement with a large fine or penalty from the 2013 and perhaps 2015 sales and some sort of control or restriction over the sale of escrowed XRP is the most likely outcome of the case in his opinion. And look, so he still seems to stand by that position. Because look, there's no request of a declaratory judgment of XRP to be a security, so a judge cannot deem XRP a security in this case unless something's amended, which seems tremendously unlikely at this point. So as it stands now, XRP will not be declared a security. But even so, in this most recent video that he put out, again, just to be clear, he's stating even though that's so, it's certainly the case that they broadened the definition of what they deem to be a security, so they can still go after an entity, and go after an entity, and then another entity, and then another entity, and it won't stop until what would ultimately happen. This is why we keep talking about this idea of clarity through enforcement, which is a disgusting approach, I think. But people are just gonna, when they want to do something, assess what the likelihood is that the SEC is going to come after them in some sort of legal capacity, and like really bring the hammer down. And so that right there is enforcement or regulatory clarity, if you want to call it that, through enforcement. You'll get a feel for what's likely to get you sued by the SEC. I don't like that. The right thing to do would simply be to just bring some sort of clarity, but that's clearly not the approach that they're ever going to take. I mean, maybe they could, but it doesn't look like that right now. Most certainly not. Now, where was I at right now? Yeah, here we go. In assessing that a settlement will occur, Hogan joins Abra CEO Bill Barheit and Uphold CEO JP. I can't remember to say his last name. I can't remember if you pronounce the T. It's either Therio or Theriot. I can't remember. I've heard it before, and then I just didn't retain the information. But he agrees a lot. So the vast majority of people I come across that are in the know, they do not believe that there's going to be some sort of adjudication to completion, and even if that XRP would be deemed a security, they think it's much more likely that some sort of settlement's going to occur here. And so I continue to be optimistic personally, but Jeremy Hogan even said in his video, he's like, look, I'm not on social media, so if you guys if you want to, maybe kind of spread the word out on social media. And so I'm doing, since I happen to have a platform here on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and sound the alarm. I think what Jeremy Hogan is saying makes all the sense in the world. So just be aware of this. It doesn't mean we need to be even more scared than we already were. It doesn't mean that the sky's falling. It's just worth being aware of this. But I'm still optimistic for the future. And like I keep saying, and it is true, it's difficult to find lawyers that believe today XRP is a security outside of the SEC. You know, I did find a couple, and I've highlighted them on the channel, but then you look at their background and they're like basically Bitcoin maximalists. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I throw that out then. It's hard to take it seriously. But anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap up there. Thank you for stopping by, my friends. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.